Welcome in. What a start to the show.
I was going to push it, but I didn't have to. Right when I started to click it, it worked. So we're live on stream.
We're live on the Facebook.
That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the radio part. Of course, that works.
Yeah, that's fine.
At least we believe it works.
We'll never know if it doesn't.
Well, yeah, we will, because Chris would come in here and go.
That's true.
With a panic look on his face. No, you don't see him with a panic look on his face. It's more like, oh man, what did I do?
He would come in here with the rage and the fury of 77,000 Chiefs fans. Y'all, I can't. The Chiefs fans last night went full angry WWE crowd on the referees. If you didn't see the roughing the passer call, and you got it, like if you're an official, you saw what happened in the Falcons-Bucks game, right? You saw what happened with that roughing the passer on Tom Brady. You know, the one that, wasn't that? You remember that, right? Last night, Monday Night Football, 16 hours after that roughing the passer call that screwed Atlanta. So bad, by the way, that noted Atlanta Falcons hater Rob Brown was defending the Falcons. That's how bad that call was. The refs did it again last night. And they did it again so egregiously that for the second time in 16 hours, an otherwise unbiased play-by-play group in Buck and Aikman lit up on the refs. In fact, Lonzo, if you don't mind, I've got the clip in the folder from the play itself and the reaction afterwards. And you're going to hear the call. You're going to hear the play call, the roughing the passer call. You're going to hear Buck and Aikman going off on this call. And you are going to hear the chorus of Kansas City Chiefs fans.
All right, which chorus? Not the one chorus that I can't play.
You know what? Why don't you preview that clip?
Well, I can't do that while we're on the air.
We'll save the clip then.
Because there is a certain chorus that cannot be played.
I did not catch it in the recording.
But you might be desensitized to a degree. So,
and also I was talking with Chris while I was putting it together.
Yeah,
so I may have just missed it.
Yeah. So yeah, I would rather wait on that.
All right. So we'll hang off on the sound. Just to, I'll get the Lonzo seal of approval before we play.
So we'll go off stream at some point during the break for just a couple minutes, so I can.
I mean,
listen
we could
to
play it on the stream.
You're right. We could. You're right.
We could play it on the stream. But I will get the Lonzo seal of approval,
also known as the Odyssey seal of approval, or radio in general.
Well, I go with the highest of standards.
Okay.
Lonzo is just USDA prime cut.
Yeah, Keegan, that's what they were saying. They were quoting Salt and Pepper.
The Chiefs fans, push it. The Chiefs fans last night, Keegan said they were some torches away from being angry mob level.
All right, so we discussed this a little bit in the office, and that's almost exactly what I said. I didn't mention the torches, but I'd said it was nearly a riot, and I genuinely was afraid that they were going to have to cut away because Chiefs fans finally went, okay, that's it. I'm on the field. Yeah, and I kept telling my wife is, those guys will need police protection when they leave. and it's not a joke though. Cause those fans, and they should have been, were pretty angry. And what made it worse was earlier, Patrick Mahomes got slammed to the ground big time, worse than what Brady got, as if Brady's was, to the point where he rolled some and nothing. And then that happened.
I saw that as well.
I am curious, and I really want to know what everybody thinks about this. To me, when the ball is taken away from the quarterback is no longer a quarterback. He is just a guy on the field. The ball was taken away. So at that point, it's not roughing the passer anymore. You just landed on some dude on the field. And they never addressed that. When you take the ball away, just like when the quarterback decides to run, unless he slides, he's no longer a quarterback. What is he? He's basically a running back. Sliding will protect him, but if he decides to go head first, it can't be roughing the passer. If you take the ball away from someone, they no longer have the ball. That means he's not a quarterback anymore. He's just a player on the field.
Correct. The ruling, because the ref
no. The ruling was crap is what it was. It's ridiculous. And is this what Goodell, who I'm usually with Goodell, especially because I'm a contrarian, supposedly. But is this how Goodell is handling the whole thing? Did he mandate, hey, anyone touched, it's except for Patrick Mahomes, anyone touched, it's roughing the passer.
The mandate for the call that they made last night, Chris Jones had the sack. He very clearly took the ball away from Derek Carr on the way down.
But it's not a sack. Once you take the ball, it's not a sack. It was he caused a fumble. It's no longer a sack. That's not a quarterback anymore.
It is still credited as a sack. It is going to be credited as a strip sack fumble recovery. Chris Jones very clearly took the ball away from Derek Carr. Very clearly took the ball away from Derek Carr. Very clearly had the ball in his possession. Very clearly, when he landed on top of Derek Carr, already had the football in his possession. The rule in the NFL is,
braced himself, so he didn't go full on him like they were saying he did.
So we're watching it again right now. He lands kind of the way that a pro wrestler hits a frog splash. Like you kind of land on your knees and your elbows and you form a bridge of sorts over the top of the other guy. He definitely does land on Derek Carr, though Lonzo's correct. He's not like in a full plank phase to where he is putting everything down. But in fairness, at full speed, it most certainly did look like he came down full body weight on Derek Carr. And the NFL's rule is, dumb or not, and I understand why the rule is there, I just think the execution of it is flawed. At full speed, it did look as if he landed full body weight on Derek Carr. I understood the call. It is one of those full speed calls in football are very, very difficult. The game's fast. And much like they try to do in pro wrestling, when things are moving so fast, if things are moving very quickly, your eyes can be deceived. It absolutely did look like he came down full body weight on Derek Carr. And there is a rule in place that a defensive player cannot go full body weight on top of a quarterback. But the execution of that rule is a little bit whack. And you saw exactly why last night. Like, I'm at the point now where I believe NFL officials expect when a defensive player sacks the quarterback that they are supposed to like hit the QB and then, I don't know, transport themselves into another galaxy, another dimension to escape finishing a tackle, right? And the problem you're going to have, and watch it's going to happen. The problem you're going to have is you're going to get a Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. And a defensive tackle or end or linebacker is going to wrap them up around the waist. And they're going to go to sling them down like they did to Brady and got a call, like they did to Patrick Mahomes last night. Same thing.
By the way, I just sent you on Twitter, someone put side by side the sack of Mahomes and Brady.
Oh,
so
you're very much.
So you can see which one was more severe. One was called and one was not.
You're very much preaching to a choir over here. I called that shot as soon as it happened. The waist lock slam of Patrick Mahomes was more violent than the one on Brady. Now, it's not a like who got hit harder competition. The point is, if that's a foul on Brady, you have to explain to me why it's not a foul on Mahomes. And we just missed it. Ain't good enough in that case because that was clear and obvious as it happened. But to finish up the Chris Jones things, because I absolutely plan on getting to the sack of Mahomes v. Brady coming up after that. With the Chris Jones thing, my question here is, what is the and I genuinely would want Roger Goodell and the NFL referees to answer this question for me. What is the correct way for Chris Jones to finish that tackle? Like, what's the correct way, right? Because he comes off the edge. He's got Carr lined up. He's got the hands up. He does not bring them onto the head of Carr. He brings them down to the side. He strips the ball. He gets the ball. His momentum is moving forward. Like, I've always gotten, when the NFL has consistently pushed forward a discussion about player safety, specifically at the quarterback position, I've always kind of taken a little bit of umbrage with people who are, as Troy Aikman did last night, and is in some heat on it for Twitter, on Twitter, with the, why he put skirts on him next time? I'm like, dude, there's nothing wrong with trying to keep players safe. But there is some element of physicality to the game of football. And I would genuinely like to ask the officials.
That would offend you. But still, I mean, what he's saying is he should have just went with flags. That's the PC way to go. Why don't we just put flags on them and then it wouldn't offend people? But he's right to a degree. I mean, his sentiment is absolutely right.
I'm not I'm not arguing the sentiment. I agree with it, right? I'm not arguing the sentiment of the discussion. I would argue Troy's verbiage, but that's another discussion for another time. I think we can focus on what actually happened here. And what actually happened here is, I would need the National Football League. I would need those officials, frankly. I would need those officials to explain to me, in an ideal world, what is the correct way for that defensive tackle to finish that play, right? What is the ideal way for that tackle to finish that play? Because he's running into and through the quarterback. Like, are you just supposed to shoulder charge and hope they fall? And here's why I say all of this. There is going to be a point at some point where Patrick Mahomes, where Dak Prescott, where Lamar Jackson, where a nimble quarterback.
I wouldn't put Dak in there. I'm not sure he plays again.
Well, he might get hurt.
No, he's been replaced.
Well, Cooper Rush is 5-0, baby. Where a more nimble quarterback, right? Josh Allen is going to get hit. Like Derek Carr got hit last night. And in order to avoid getting that roughing the passer call, a defensive tackle is going to put the initial hit on that quarterback, is going to drive through that quarterback, but is not going to take that quarterback to the ground, right? And in not taking the quarterback to the ground, one of those quarterbacks, Lonzo, is going to spin out of that tackle and go run for 30. At some point, you are going to see another hip toss tackle like we saw on Brady, like we saw on Mahomes, flagged for Brady, not for P. Holmes. We're going to see another hip tackle where a defender is going to not finish the throw to the ground out of fear for the PI. And a guy like Mahomes is going to get spun around and he's going to pirouette out of that waist hip lock tackle. And then he's just going to go run for 30. It's going to happen. And then we're going to have to ask the question, as we should be doing now, where is the balance? What do you expect, right? Like, what was expected of the tackle on Tom Brady that was flagged? What was the expectation of the strip sack fumble on Derek Carr last night? What was the expectation for the end of that play. One thing I've already seen on social media is, well, if you hit the quarterback straight up, numbers, face mask between the numbers, lift with the arms, drive up to the legs, throw the hips forward and tackle. What the NFL is going to eventually tell you is you are expected to do is going to be, well, when you go, you need to fall to the side, right? You need to fall to the side. When you get the quarterback, you need to make sure you need to put the effort into falling beside him instead of on top of him. And it's one of those things that's like, I get what you're saying in premise, but in execution, it's very difficult. Look at that hit last night.
So when you're
320 pounds, there is no stop and roll.
And by the way, not moving slowly. That dude probably runs sub 5 for sure, maybe like 4.5, something like that. Try to stop. Run as fast as you can and try to stop, or try to do what you said and make sure you turn sideways while you're going full speed. You can't do that.
Run full speed at a wall, and then try within an inch of your life to just turn as you hit the wall. It's not easy. It's not easy off a sprint. So, and that's why I'm saying I got the sentiment of Troy Aikman saying we need to go to the competition committee and we need to make sure that these calls aren't so soft anymore.
You know,
I agree.
I almost felt sorry for the Raiders a little bit last night because that call turned the entire game around because that crowd came alive and so did the Chiefs. Although I was never really worried. My wife got mad and left after a certain point when they were down so much. It's like, there's plenty of football left. We've seen them score like 2 touchdowns in like a minute and a half before. I'm not worried about that. But that crowd was unhinged. And you get that many people, rabid fans already normally loud, and you give them a reason to be even louder. You could see the frustrated look on the Raiders' faces because, they had to believe, we're just not going to be able to hear the rest of the game.
And here's another interesting thing. There's a lot of interesting things about this conversation. Here's another interesting thing about this conversation. I think we can and frankly should be having this conversation without talking about the impact that it had on the game last night, right? Because it did. Lonzo's exactly right. That fan those fans got stir crazy. They got loud.
You college fan guys, you know who you are, who says that, an NFL crowd can't affect the game. What are you saying now?
Did last night.
Will you address that part?
What were you guys down 17-7 at that point?
Yeah. Will you address that point? No, you won't.
So I think this conversation needs to be had. In a way that we discuss what is actually happening on the football field itself. And on the football field itself, right? On the football field itself, it's just a bad look for the game. It was just a bad look for the game. Yeah, tackling is at its core like the most important part of football, right? Like the whole game is you have to try to get that ball across that line, and I have to try to get you on the ground before you can. Tackling is quite literally one of the 2 points of the game. Point 1, get the ball over that line. Point 2, get the other guy on the ground before he does it. And if we cannot have a game where a quarterback getting tackled, the way that tackles have been happening for a freaking 100 years isn't a problem, I don't know what to say. That call was just infuriating.
And the NFL needs to address this because it was Monday Night Football, the only game on. The Chiefs are playing, so you're going to have more eyes on it. So a lot of people saw this. Maybe not as many people saw the Tom Brady thing, even though it was made a big deal out of it. And this all comes back to Tua, and it should to a degree. But there's a medium in there, and they need to find that. If they don't, it's hurting the product. They say protect the shield. You're not protecting it very good when you have the referee come on for the second time, the referee consultant, and basically say the same thing. When they said, well, we're going to have him back on, I'm like, okay, he's going to correct it. No, he didn't. He did not correct it.
No, not at all. And listen, we'll go back and then we got to take a break. But you talked about Lonzo. You talked about the Tua hit, the Brady hit. Brady's hit was less visible. And I would agree. On Sunday, Brady's hit was less visible. There weren't a lot of folks tuning in for the regional Falcons v. Bucks coverage, right? But we were talking about this yesterday. Lonzo, how many times did we see that Brady replay yesterday? About 1,000 during the show.
And we're going to see it more now because of this.
I've already seen it. We have been on the air 21 minutes. I've seen it 7 times already. I started counting because I knew this was going to come up. I've seen it 7 times on ESPN in 21 minutes. They are averaging playing it 1 time every 3 minutes, right? There have been times, I think, that the NFL have had some bad calls that they were kind of able to brush under the bed a little bit because not everybody saw it because it was on some local regional game between 2 and 2 or 2 and 3 teams and nobody really cared. But you had Tua's first hit that was exaggerated by Tua's second hit. That game was in front of a national audience on a Thursday night. That hit has been replayed on every single talking sports channel 1 billion times so far. Then, while everybody was paying attention to that, you had the roughing the passer call against Tom Brady on Sunday. Now, if that happens against, I don't know, Joe Burrow, right? Andy Dalton, probably nobody cares. But it happened to the GOAT. It happened to Tom Brady. So, of course, it is once again all across ESPN and everybody else. And then last night, Monday Night Football, the most watched television program in America is Monday Night Football. And you had that happen in that moment after the last 9 days, 13 days, whatever it's been. It's bad look, man. Bad look. Texas says just put flags on the quarterbacks and call it the NFFL, the National Flag Football League. I used to, Lonzo, I used to scoff at that take, right? We used to get that take, and I used to go, all right, dude, stop being so freaking dramatic. Stop being so damn dramatic. Relax. And now I'm like, how else was Chris Davis supposed to tackle Derek Carr in that situation? Like, I genuinely want the explanation as to how it should have been done. Because that ain't it. Ain't good enough, dude. It's just not good enough. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. We will check that audio. If it's good, we'll play it for you when we come back. If it's not, we won't.
Streaming exclusive.
Yeah, it may just be on the stream. That's a fact. All right, take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. We got plenty more to talk about. My name is Rob Brown, RB3. He's the great one, Lonzo, on the other side of the metaphorical glass. And you, ladies and gentlemen, are listening to The Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. If you're watching on the stream, I got to do a live read. Please stay tuned, and we will be right back.
on this.
Yo, Stream, what's up? I don't know why I turned into Jim Rome. What's up?
All right, I'm previewing this.
And the ball is taken away by Jones. A flag comes out on the play. And we'll see how this one's going to be figured out. A forced fumble and a fumble recovery by Chris Jones.
Rack him.
He just took it away from Carr. It's almost like they forgot about that part as a flag came down early on the play. They shut the play down after Jones came away with a football and was headed toward the end zone. Yeah, we'll see how they sort this out. But what a pass rush by Chris Jones. You know, he lines up most of the time now on the inside. He lined up outside. But Illuminor is the one who was trying to block him. It was impressive. John, a lot to sort out here.
Yeah, you know, initially what I think is that ball is out. I think it is a fumble. I think Carl's going
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 97. 15-yard penalty. So there it is. The full body weight, as John said, on the part of Chris Jones, which takes the fumble away and gives Las Vegas a first down. Let's watch.
He said 97. Obviously, he meant 95. So that calls out clearly. It's definitely out. And you can hear the crowd.
I don't blame the crowd at all.
I don't either. And I can only imagine how Chiefs fans are reacting at home because you can see Andy Reid. We saw the calls yesterday. We've seen a number of them already in the early going. That they called roughing the passer. It's changed the complexion of a lot of games, and it does this one here tonight.
I mean, at some point, you have to be realistic with where the defensive player, what's he supposed to do? Disappear? I mean, he's there. The ball comes out. The ball's in his gut. And I don't know where he's supposed to go.
Yeah, I don't think they asked that question as officials, but I just think it's a bad call.
All right, we good.
Okay, cool.
So you didn't get any of that chanting in there.
Yeah, no,
But that chanting was so
I
loud.
think it picked up after.
Yeah,
like,
that
the next
they
couple of plays.
there's no way they could have
Yeah.
blocked it. They could have tried to do what they did on.
Raw last night.
Yeah.
They were just like,
Yeah, they could have tried to do
I
that.
saw that.
QC in the next break.
All right, so Lonzo has given us the USDA Lonzo seal of approval. And I want to run this audio for you. This is, and those of you on the stream, you're going to get the old double dose because you got to listen to it during the break. Had to make sure that the chants of bull boat from the Chiefs crowd. By the way, Lonzo,
there was a little bit of a bleep you ref too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was
How embarrassing for Chiefs fans, right? How embarrassing. I was squarely team bull boat last night. I repeatedly told the television it was bull boat. I don't know if they could hear me in KC, Lonzo, but I let them have it.
I'm guessing that the shout was throughout the world.
Here's the audio. I want you to listen to Aikman, right? Like Buck's on 1-2, but Troy is not cool. And that's from a quarterback, y'all. That's from a quarterback. Here's the call from the play last night.
Hit from behind, and the ball is taken away by Jones. A flag comes out on the play, and we'll see how this one's going to be figured out. A forced fumble and a fumble recovery by Chris Jones. He just took it away from Carr. It's almost like they forgot about that part as a flag came down early on the play. But they shut the play down after Jones came away with a football and was headed toward the end zone.
Yeah, we'll see how they sort this out. But what a pass rush by Chris Jones. You know, he lines up most of the time now on the inside. He lined up outside. And Illuminor is the one who is trying to block him. It was impressive.
John, a lot to sort out here.
Yeah, you know, initially what I think is that ball is out. I think it is a fumble, and I think Carl's going
Personal
full
foul.
body weight.
Roughing the passer. Number 97. Defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
So there it is. The full body weight, as John said, on the part of Chris Jones, which takes the fumble away and gives Las Vegas a first down. Let's watch.
Yeah, he said 97. Obviously, he meant 95, but
That ball's out clearly.
it's definitely out, and you can hear the crowd.
I don't blame the crowd at all.
I don't either, and I can only imagine how Chiefs fans are reacting at home because you can see Andy Reid. We saw the calls yesterday. We've seen a number of them already in the early going that they've called roughing the passer. It's changed the complexion of a lot of games, and it does this one here tonight.
I mean, at some point, you have to be realistic with where the defensive player, what's he supposed to do? Disappear? I mean, he's there. The ball comes out. The ball's in his gut. And I don't know where he's supposed to go.
Yeah, I don't think they asked that question as officials, but I just think it's a bad call.
And that's the thing, right? Like you heard Troy say, what is he supposed to do? Disappear? Right? Like right before the QB hits the ground, teleport to the mirror dimension? What's he supposed to do? I don't understand it there. And I think it's fair. I think it's fair to expect the National Football League to instruct us, to instruct defensive tackles, ends, linebackers, and corners. If you tackle the quarterback, this is the way to do it in this situation, right? I've made the analogy in the past because I get told all the time, well, Rob, if you're going to complain about that, what's your solution? And the analogy I've used in the past is if I go to a steakhouse and I order a medium rare T-bone and they bring me out a well-done flank steak, I don't need to be able to go in the back and instruct the chef on the correct way to cook a steak to know that the one you brought me is wrong. But if I am going to go and say, this is the way it should be done, I should be able to tell you this is the way it should be done in this case, right? Because you are the rule maker here. You are the rule maker. This is the way it should be done if this is the way that it's not. And as Joey B just popped into the chat and said, first the NFL couldn't figure out what a catch is. Now they don't know what roughing the passer is. This league can't get out of its own way. I mean, it kind of feels that way, right? It kind of feels that way. It kind of feels like the NFL just doesn't know what the hell to do. And it's just not good enough for $1 billion league. It's just not good enough that you have a very important game last night, by the way, like a very important game. You got a Raiders team that was expected to be a playoff threat who is trying to come off the snide. You got a Chiefs team that is a Super Bowl favorite in the National Football League that is trying to up their division lead. Very important game. And that changed everything, right? That changed everything to give the Raiders the ball back in that spot when it was very clearly a strip, sack, fumble recovery. It was frankly embarrassing. And as I don't think Troy and Joe were unfairly asking, What the hell is he supposed to do? It's a good hit. It's a clean hit. He did not go to the head and neck area, as they have been instructed not to do. I understand that the rule of you can't go full body weight on top of the quarterback, which, by the way, the only position that rule is applied to, right? You have never heard a full body weight call against a receiver or a running back. It's only against quarterbacks because the NFL knows what they are, right? The NFL is a quarterback-driven league. The NFL is a league where quarterbacks sell tickets. Sex sells and quarterbacking sells. It is a league that quarterbacks are the marquee, and they're trying to protect them. And I understand that. I don't even have a problem with that. The problem I have is that you have bought into that belief system. You have bought into that MO. And in buying into that MO, you have created a world where you don't have answers to the question like, how are you supposed to hit Derek Carr in that spot?
You know, this isn't just about the NFL either. This is the highest form of this game. So is this going to filter down into college? Is it going to filter down into high school to where the referees there are uncertain and just throwing flags right and left? It wouldn't surprise me if this Saturday we start seeing roughing the passer all over the place.
I mean, listen, everything the NFL does filters down, right? Like, I know there's a lot of you guys that argue college football is better. I don't. They're both equally great, in my opinion, for different reasons. But everything the NFL does filters down. It's always been that way. It's always going to be that way. So, yes, I don't think it's unfair to ask what the impact is going to be moving forward, right? When the NFL started getting serious about concussion protocols, so did college ball. And when college ball started getting serious about concussion protocols, so did high school ball. And don't get me wrong, good. That's great. That's a great development in the land of football. It's a great development. This one, not so much. This one, not so much. Again, what is the question? What are they supposed to do? How is that sack supposed to be executed? Because as far as I'm concerned, it was picture perfect. Joe's got another point. He said this no full body weight rule is causing linemen to sling quarterbacks down more, leading to injuries like Tua's. And that's exactly right. Teddy Bridgewater got the exact same injury on Sunday. Brady could have gotten the same injury. Hell, Patrick Mahomes last night could have got the same injury. When you waist lock sling a dude to the ground, the head becomes more likely to snap backwards and hit the turf. That's exactly right. I understand not wanting to have 320, 330, 350-pound defensive tackles falling their entire weight on Patrick Mahomes' tiny ass. I get it. Kyler Murray would literally become a sweat stain on the field if some of these guys went full body weight on him, right? I get it. But my goodness, you have made other hits more dangerous. You have made it worse. Goodell, NFL Officiating Association or Union, whatever you are, I'm not like, see the phrase, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. Because you have not explained to us how this is supposed to work. And until you explain to me how this is supposed to work, I don't think it's unfair to criticize the hell out of you. That was atrocious. Atrocious. Lonzo came in this morning, and the first thing he said was like, I wonder if those officials got out of Kansas City safely last night.
Yeah, they needed protection for sure. I mean, when you make a call like that, and it shouldn't be that way, but it's that way. It's the world. And there were people angry beyond belief over that. And it would have been worse if the Chiefs had lost a game.
If the Raiders converted that 2-point conversion, imagine that story today, right? If the Raiders get that 2-point conversion and the Raiders win that football game last night somehow, imagine the reaction today. Because that call would have absolutely taken the blame for changing the game. How much different is that game if the Raiders don't get the opportunity to score and the Chiefs do because they earned a strip sack fumble recovery? It was bad. It was embarrassing. It just is what it is. There's no way around it. The NFL can't tell us what it was supposed to be. In now, 3 games in the past 13 days? We have had NFL color and play-by-play guys who, by the way, are supposed to remain neutral, right? The NFL signs billion-dollar TV contracts. They damn sure want to make sure that the guys with the microphones on are not banging the drum against the product, right? Not banging the drum against the product. And now it is so egregious. Lonzo, if last night we're watching that game, that play call happens, and Buck and Aikman don't say anything about it, I'd be furious with them.
Yeah, I definitely
That's
would.
how bad this is.
I definitely would have a problem, but I especially don't see Aikman letting that go.
No chance. And you know, those guys are in a different category because they are so influential in football broadcasting that they can get away with more than if you brought up Rob Brown to call a regional game on you know, NFL Net or CBS Plus or whatever. So they probably can get away with a little bit more. But we have now had multiple games where play-by-play and color guys are going, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what to tell you. I can tell you what the call was. I can tell you what the punishment was. And outside of that, I got nothing for you. That's how bad this is. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, you guys know that I'm big on Vegas, right? You guys know that a good way to predict things is to take a look at the Vegas odds. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Las Vegas has a new favorite to win the NCAA football national championship. Who has jumped to the top of the Vegas odds leaderboards? We'll find out next. Rob Lonzo and you on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, Stream, got to cut another live. Please be right there when we come back. All right, dudes and dudettes, I'm back. What's up, everybody? Yeah, James pointed out, can't help but bring up every time Cam took a headshot with the refs watching 13 feet away. Yeah, Cam Newton got hit all the daggum time, and he got slung and he got powed. And, Ben Roethlisberger was earlier in his career, Ben Roethlisberger was a lot the same way, right? Like bigger quarterbacks get hit the same way and get different calls. And I guess really all we're asking for is A, consistency, and B, instruction, right? Like if you're going to tell us you can't do that, then tell us how you can, right? It shouldn't be a trial. It shouldn't be something that we're like trying to figure out as we go.
Yeah,
Tyler will be flattened like a cartoon character. He'd be picking up off the ground.
No. He'd have to peel him off the front.
Yeah.
Like
they
a
have
cartoon.
to do that thing like in Space Jam where they put the bike pump in his mouth and pump him back up. Skrilla said, how can a player almost 400 pounds stop himself from doing what he's been taught to do their entire career from Pee-wee till now? Refs from every league need training in being refs. And that's the other thing, right? When I say you got to tell us how to do it, that's as much for the officials as it is for the NFL, right? It's as much for them as it is for the NFL. JW says quarterbacks will game the rules and the acting will be epic. The Oscar goes to, yeah, I agree. I feel like at the end of the NFL season, we're going to be handing out the floppies.
Except for
go to a quarterback.
Except for Tom Brady doesn't have to act. He just has to say, hey, ref.
He's just got to look at the ref and go, I feel like that was illegal.
Yeah.
I used to defend Tom Brady so much, and the more he plays, the more I can't.
Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's. So thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code JOY at checkout. That's harrys.com, code JOY. Enjoy.
At Misty's gym, boot camp gets pretty close to the real thing. She wants to spot a personal trainer with a military background.
I can cover this with boot camp, but we need someone staff. Is it your cousin of mine?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I mean,
It is. And if the flag isn't thrown, a tablet will be.
Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 for your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
What's your retirement look like? With Fidelity Income Planning, a dedicated advisor can help you create a flexible income strategy to grow and protect your wealth. So you can stop.
Hey, man, that's just because we're not talking. I can't do anything about that, Steven. You know, it could take us completely off. I could do that. Still have work that we, got to do and stuff. Maybe.
So you guys know that I follow Vegas trends, yeah? I like following Vegas trends. I think that Vegas, because of the fact that their, life depends on getting betting odds to be maximum value for them. If you set the odds too high, people who know what they're doing are going to take a lot of money from you. If you set the odds too low, people who know what they're doing are going to take a lot of money from you. You got to get the odds right? Well, Vegas has just shifted up their odds for this year's national championship winner. Las Vegas odds as they stand today. Clemson is 12-1, plus 1,200. Alabama is now plus 270. They have fallen a little bit. Georgia is now plus 225. They have fallen just a wee bit. And your new Vegas favorite to win the national championship, how about Ohio State University is now plus 180. They have less than 2-1 odds to win the Natty. If you bet Clemson to win it, you're winning $12 for every dollar you bet. Alabama, $2.70 for every bet, for every dollar you bet. Georgia, $2.25 for every dollar you bet. If you bet Ohio State, you are now making less than $2 back on every dollar you bet. If the Buckeyes win the title, Zoe, I will be interested to see if the AP poll and in 2 weeks, when our first college football playoff poll comes out, I will be interested to see if the college football playoff poll reflects what Las Vegas says now. Las Vegas now believes that Ohio State, now, for the record, it does not reflect that Ohio State is the best team in the country. It reflects that they believe Ohio State is most likely to win a natty. Those two things are not synonymous with each other. Does not mean they believe Ohio State's the best team in the country. It means they believe Ohio State has the easiest path to a title and the chance to win it, right? Coming out of the Big Ten, there's one team, we did this yesterday, one team ranked remaining between Ohio State and the end of the season. Michigan and Penn State, too.
I don't think they play Penn State, though, unless I looked at it wrong. They normally do, but I could have looked at it wrong.
So there is just one. So there's one team, whereas Georgia has 3, and they're back-to-back-to-back. You guys do play Penn State, October 29th.
Maybe I just blotted it out of my mind.
Yeah, that's probably fair. You've got 2 ranked teams yet. Georgia's got 3. Bama's got 3. Vegas now has Ohio State as the most likely team to win a natty. That kind of jumped out at me a little bit. We'll talk more about that coming up. Did South Carolina truly turn a corner this weekend? I'll give you the numbers that say yes, and it is Braves postseason baseball day. I'll give you a breakdown of that Phillies-Braves series coming up on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. So some of you may have asked why it is that I usually wear a hat pretty much every day. Why is my hair just slicked back? And the answer is because I wore a hat to work today. But the hat that I wore cannot be worn with a headset, right? I can't put my headphones on because I'm trying out a new thing. And I wore the hat. I got here. As we went on the air, Lonzo pointed out, dude, you can't wear a headset with that hat, which is correct. And I don't have the over-the-ear, just wired over-the-ear headset. So then I had to go Seth Rollins my hair back. I had to RVD my hair back. And my question stream, and I need your, as if I don't get this all the time, full blunt honesty about this, all right?
Why'd you just put that on like Michael Jackson?
Does this work? Is it the lady friend is not a fan of this hat. She does not like it. She's like, you can wear it when you go somewhere that I'm not with you. I found this hat at Target for $8. And I was like, $8 is worth the experiment, right? Like $8 is worth seeing if the hat works. I think the hat works.
Hey, you've got like a room full of hats. If it doesn't work, you hang it on the wall.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know.
Yeah. I own about, not exaggerating, probably 80 hats. The overwhelming majority of them are baseball caps. But I've got 3 cowboy hats. I've got a couple of fedoras. I found this one at Target for $8. And I was like, it's worth the experiment, right? Like, I feel like I can pull that hat off. I feel like it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like I'm a random generated NPC in the movie Tombstone. Like, I feel like if you saw me walking around in the back of Red Dead Redemption, I would fit in okay, right?
Not with the purple, but yeah.
Not
probably.
with the purple hoodie.
Yeah.
But like the hat's kind of like cross between the hat's kind of like cross between 1950s detective / cowboy movie. It's like right in the middle. And I feel like I'm pulling it off. Skrilla said I like the cowboy hat better. I've been wearing the cowboy hat to the soccer matches as of late. And In fairness, the cowboy hat is undefeated at soccer matches right now, so it stays in the rotation. But I almost switched it up and went this one with the black jersey on Saturday. I like it. I think it's a good look. The lady friend does not. She's like, nope, don't wear that with me. You can wear any other hat you own with me. Don't wear that. She would prefer I wear the cowboy hat to this.
It's kind of a something that I used to see like my uncles wear when I was a kid, and
it's an old guy hat.
Yeah. I didn't want to say that exactly,
It's
but
an old
yeah.
guy hat, and I acknowledge that it's an old guy hat. But I'm an old guy now, right? I'm an old guy now. So the question now is, does this hat work for Rob Brown? I will give you until the another 2 minutes.
Do you have a matching vest?
No, because fat guys can't wear vests.
I disagree. Fat guys
can't wear vests.
Absolutely, fat guys can wear vests.
I feel like this hat works. And I'm going to tell you, when we go pick up our hardware for show of the year next year, I think I'm going black shirt, red sequin jacket, this hat on top. But I think I'm going to have my artsy crafty friends make me a red sequin band to go around the top of the hat.
There you go.
So I need you guys' honest opinion. Does this hat work for one Rob Brown? I feel like it does. I feel like I'm doing all right.
I will tell you, I wore a top hat once, and it was very memorable. So, I mean, a good lid will make an impression.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And that I think that's why I'm rolling with it. I think it works.
Stop with the Undertaker hat. It's not an Undertaker hat. It's not the right color. And it's not big enough.
No, and his has a bowl on the top.
Yeah, the Undertaker hat is like an Undertaker hat.
This is like Indiana Jones goes to prom. And I think it works.
You wish it's Indiana Jones goes to prom. Who would he have taken to prom?
Marion. Who else?
You think so?
Yeah.
Marion, not a prom kind of person, I'm guessing.
I do feel like I should be drinking a beer or whiskey with this hat.
Shave that mustache off, and there you go.
Here are the two takes that I've gotten so far. Joe says Rob looks like he's getting ready to help his neighbors raise a barn. Unknown origin BOC says it looks like you're headed back to Target to shop for pumpkin spice scented candles. First off,
He's already got those.
that is correct. Pumpkin spice is a delicious smell. I'm not like a pumpkin spice coffee guy, but I love pumpkin spice because I'm that basic white guy. It's delicious.
No, he means hipster. Warehouse
Sure.
in first break.
All right.
Oh, he had to take it off.
I did because I can't put the headset over it.
And he didn't slick. So it's
I
going to
didn't slick
fall.
during the break.
It's going to
It's gonna
fall.
fall this segment. I'm gonna have to go 1980s professional wrestler myself during the break.
It's Saved by the Bell.
Our Numeros to the Rob Brown Show starts right now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob, the great one, Lonzer Reitzell, ladies and gentlemen. We did our Views from Mid Street podcast yesterday, which is, of course, available now. Go to wherever you find your podcast of choice. I'm a Spotify guy, okay? I'm a Spotify guy. So if you go to Spotify or Google Play or Apple iTunes or wherever, you can search Views from Mint Street. And when you go to Views from Mint Street, you go right there to the homepage of Views from Mint Street. And every episode that we have recorded is available there for you. Up to and including the one that we recorded yesterday. which if you push play, as I will here for
From
you.
outdoor shades for
Oh, now I got all the advertisements. Of course we do. Anyway,
Got to pay the bills, yo.
gotta pay the bills, baby. Lonzo and I's salary ain't cheap. Go to Views from Mid Street. You can listen to every episode. And if you are a Panthers fan, even if you have tuned out of the Carolina Panthers, now's a real good time to tune back in because a storm's a brewing. The Panthers have fired Matt Rule and Lonzo. They didn't wait until 12:02 p.m. to do it. They waited till like 11:31 a.m., but it happened while we were on the air yesterday. As soon as Lonzo and I got off the air yesterday,
All right. You got to stop. You got to stop. So you're trying to turn your mistake into something that makes you feel better about doing it twice during the podcast.
Stop trying to make fetch happen, Gretchen.
Just all right. I've allowed the Zoe thing, the Lonzo thing. That's just the only way you can do that is with a Southern accent. If you put there you go. It works that way. With your Florida accent, it does not work.
During the recording of the Views from Mid Street pod, I was obviously pumping the adrenaline.
You were shaken by the letting go of your boy.
Yes, my BFF, Matt Rule. They fired Rule. As soon as they fired Rule, we got the email from the bigwigs at Odyssey Pod. They were like, hey, get your pod up now. We want to push it. So Lonzo and I have to immediately end the show and then just flip over to recording the pod. And we do. So we got the firing of Matt Rule. I'd like to thank the Panthers for firing Phil Snow like 10 minutes after we turned the pod in, right? So we'll be talking about it on today's, which will drop tomorrow. And I was juiced about it. And for whatever reason, like twice during the pod, Lonzo came out Lonzer. So I thought, let me get this right, Rob. Your pod is about to get the national push from Odyssey because the biggest breaking news of the day is your NFL team, and you call your co-host the wrong name twice. I almost took the red jacket down. Like, I know red jacket deserves better. Red jacket deserves better. Anyway, Views from Mid Street Pod is up now with Robin Lonzer. Go check it out. That's the last one.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not because you feel like it's bothering me. But just keep in mind.
I just do it because it makes fun of me.
No, but it doesn't. And keep in mind that, a few more, I might respond in kind.
All right. So let's talk about that. Matt Rule es no más, as the Carolina Panthers have decided to part ways after an 11-27 start to his career, a 1-4 start on the season. So, what is next for the Carolina Panthers after the dismissal of Matt Rule? Now, I want you to go listen to the pod because we obviously got way more in depth. Pod's usually about 45 minutes long. Split it up into a couple of chunks during the day. But I still think we got to talk about it on the show, right? So what's next after the dismissal of Matt Rule and Phil Snow? And I'm going to tell you first and foremost, I think there's a couple of reasons this decision got made. I think the first reason is that the Panthers are, and it's a very technical term, bad right now. They just are, okay? They just are. Second off, and I said this to Lonzo yesterday, and he's already got his finger on the mic on button because he's ready to rumble. And I like that. Not only are they bad, with the exception of like 3 defensive players.
You can't. No. You can't make exceptions.
Sure.
They're either bad or they're not bad.
Oh, no, they're bad.
When you start making exceptions, what you're saying is They're not that bad.
No.
They're bad, but they're not that bad.
They're bad.
Okay, well then there are no good players on the team.
No, that's not how this works.
It is how
it's
works.
not.
Yeah,
if I go to a barbecue and the ribs are bad and the potato salad is bad,
anybody else notice that he just must be hungry today?
Really
we get steak and now we get barbecue.
I didn't eat breakfast. If I go to a cookout and the steak's bad and the potato salad is bad and the baked beans are bad and the sides are bad, but the biscuits are really good, that doesn't mean you go, oh, it was actually an okay barbecue because the biscuits were good. No, the biscuits were good, but the barbecue was bad.
All right, this is not a good argument. First of all, who brings biscuits to a barbecue? The second thing is, how do you ruin beans? They're beans, man.
Too much brown cinnamon in the beans.
It's brown sugar. It's not cinnamon. You don't put cinnamon in your beans.
Stop. Listen, I'm making a point. It's probably not a great metaphor. Not a great analogy, but I'm working on it. I'm workshopping it. This may shock you. Most of the analogies that I make, Lonzo, most of them are made up on the spot. So they're not all bangers. The Carolina Panthers are bad. They have some talent, but they're bad. The other problem that they have, and I said this yesterday on the pod, the other problem that they had is not only are they bad, but they're boring. They're boring. They should not be boring. They have the potential to not be boring, but they are boring.
I'm laughing because suddenly I got a bunch of ads for chili beans and other kinds of beans just popping up on my social media. Stinking AI, man, they listening.
Big Brother's listening.
They're not boring, by the way. They are not boring. Christian McCaffrey cannot touch the ball without being exciting.
Sure can when you run him off guard every time.
Still exciting. He touches the ball. There's something in you that flutter in your heart. Christian McCaffrey's got the ball. He could go all the way. He may not every single time, but he's going to look awesome when he does it. Not boring.
You know what the gauge? You know what the gauge is here? The gauge is not whether you as a Panthers fan are excited.
I think it is, though.
It's not.
It is.
The gauge of if something is exciting is if people who are impartial to you are excited, right? When I turn on a Chiefs game, I got no love for the Chiefs. I mean, I hope Lonzo's happy on Tuesday. Right?
Yeah, because me being angry is probably funnier.
It's better for the show.
Yeah, but still.
Better for the show. I got no love for the Chiefs. But you're damn right I tuned in to watch Patrick Mahomes play because he's exciting. I got no love for the Ravens, but I tune in to watch Lamar Jackson play because when Lamar's exciting, it's exciting. I got no love for that. That's not true. I do. I love the Bills fans. The Bills fans are amazing. But I tune in to watch Josh Allen be Josh Allen. It's exciting. Christian McCaffrey should be exciting. Should be. Christian McCaffrey's had 3 100-yard games so far this year. 3 from 100-yard from scrimmage games so far this year. Should be exciting. You know who's more exciting right now?
Which, by the way, is what you expect from him. You expect him to get a ton of catches and a ton of runs.
Correct. Should be exciting.
All purpose is exciting.
Should be exciting. I disagree.
James gets it. He's exciting.
The Panthers right now are a boring football team. And I know that they are boring. And I know that they are boring because this past Sunday, when they hosted the 49ers, in what turned out to be, I prophesied that it would be on Friday, and I turned out to be correct.
Prophesied?
Yes.
Prophesied.
I correctly stated before it happened that Sunday's game would be a deterministic game, right? If they beat the 49ers, I thought things would turn around for Carolina. If they lost to the 49ers, I said that decisions would be made. Decisions got made. Matt Rule's out. Phil Snow's out. Steve Wilkes steps up from defensive passing game specialist to temporary interim head coach.
He's not going to get the job because he hasn't.
We're coming to that.
Because he hasn't made a move yet.
We're coming to that. Here's how I know the Panthers are a boring football team. Go look at that game on Sunday. The upper bowl of Bank of America Stadium was empty. Empty. There were a few dozen people up there at best. The lower bowl of Bank of America Stadium was as much red as it was blue.
I'm curious about something though. So I love having, comparative things going on. So name me another boring team so I can look at it and go, okay, I see what Rob's saying. Name another team off the top of your head that you consider boring.
Right now, the New England Patriots are a boring football team. Right now, the Houston Texans are a boring football team.
Are the New Orleans Saints, are they boring?
No. I'm sorry. Is Taysom Hill scoring 4 touchdowns and Alvin Kamara going for $160 boring?
The fact that they had to go to Taysom Hill, that guy that they made a tight end, and okay.
That guy that Tim Tebow would have been if he wasn't so prideful.
All right, so it's exciting when Taysom Hill touches the ball. It's exciting when Alvin Kamara.
Taysom Hill scored 4 touchdowns. Yeah. What did McCaffrey do?
Yeah, that's exciting. It's also exciting.
4 touchdowns.
It's also exciting every time McCaffrey touches the ball. There's a reason why he is renowned for being one of the best running backs in all of football. But apparently, he's boring.
Is anybody, one texter, is anybody listening at all besides Lonzo excited by the Panthers right now? Any of you? Do any of you get juiced on Sunday? Any of you? Rashad said on his stream, he ain't going to no more games. Why? Because he's not excited by them.
We'll see.
He's a bigger homer than you.
We'll see. We'll see. When you're a fan of something and you get all angry and say you're not going to do something, you can't help it. You just can't help it because it's a part of your life. It's a part of what you do.
Dave Rhodes did not go to the game on Sunday. He stayed home.
He still watched it, though.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. I watch the Saints when they suck, but I'm not flying to New Orleans for a game like I do, like I want to. In physics, there are 2 types of energy.
Ooh. Here we go. He wants to go science. Did I tell you that I once,
Texter says, yes, I'm excited about the Panthers. No, you're not. You're a lying contrarian
trying
to get Lonzo to bite.
If you are a fan of a team, you're excited every time they take the field because there's always that.
You do make rules about being a fan.
See, this is what happens when he knows that he's losing. He turns it on me.
I'm just saying.
Here's what I'll say. Yes, host, you're correct.
You told me you don't make rules about being a fan.
Hey, man, you got a contract. I'm just a working guy over here,
In physics, there are 2 types of energy. There's potential energy and there's kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is energy that is being used. It's energy that's in motion. It's energy that's actually acting. Potential energy is stored energy, is energy that is available for usage, right? If you take a spring and you push that spring down, right? And then you put a paperweight on top of that spring so the spring stays smushed. That spring has potential energy.
Smushed, is that a scientific term?
It's a very scientific term.
Okay,
yeah.
Just curious.
If you smush that spring down and you put a paperweight on it, that spring has potential energy. Potential energy meaning the energy is stored in that spring to where if the situation is correct, the energy in that spring, boing, and that spring will expand and it'll go shooting off into the air. That's potential energy. Kinetic energy is what that energy is called when it's being used. So when you remove that paperweight from the smushed spring, and that spring goes boing and shoots off into the air, that's kinetic energy. Christian McCaffrey is the definition of potential energy in human form. You are right. Christian McCaffrey has the potential to be exciting every time that he steps onto the field. Spot dead on. He is potentially exciting. Every time 22 is lined up in the slot, in the backfield, as a spread wide receiver, there is the potential that all eyes will be on 22 because he might do something freaking special. But he is not consistently for the Panthers this season turned that into kinetic, right? Exciting means a thing is happening and I am excited about it. You can be excited for or excited about, right? I am excited for Christian McCaffrey's potential. Oh, by the way, you ready for this fun one, Lonzo? Reports out this morning that the Buffalo Bills and Carolina Panthers may be entering trade talks to send Christian McCaffrey to Buffalo to play with Josh Allen. Lonzo's eyes just spun back in his head.
No, they didn't. I don't blame them for wanting such an exciting player.
Potentially exciting. I agree.
It's not potentially exciting.
Potential for excitement.
Okay, whatever. It's break time.
The problem with Matt Rule has been that offensively, there's a ton of potential energy. Robbie, DJ, Christian, Chuba, Deontay, Ian. There is a ton of potential energy. Lonzo, you have been complaining about the play calling for 3 weeks. Correctly, by the way, complaining about the play calling. Why are you complaining about the play calling? Like, what's the gripe?
When national sports people are explaining all the telltale signs that this is exactly what they're going to do, it's because it is my level education on offense going up against your level education on the opposing defense, and it doesn't bode well.
I agree. And that limits the ultimate potential of the offense, right? If there's potential in that offense, and it is so freaking predictable, as it has been, that the defense can get a gauge on what's coming. And it feels like they do, right? Feels like they do. You know what they become? They got the paperweight to put on top of that spring. You've given them the paperweight to put on top of the spring. And now that spring has all the potential energy in the world. But unless the spring has enough potential energy to overpower the mass and the gravity of the paperweight on top of it, the spring is just going to sit there and do nothing. It's just nothing, right? All the potential energy in the world stored right there. But it's just nothing. This team has the potential to be excellent. It needs the right quarterback, which, by the way, I think Matt Rule got fired because he just could not find the right quarterback, right? And that's to some degree luck of the draw. If they found the right quarterback and the right guy to call the play, the Carolina Panthers offense could be, and I genuinely believe this, could be elite. It's got the talent to be elite.
By the way, this just in, rookie Akeem Aquano had the highest rated by PFF, graded 92.1 in week 5.
He's exceptional now.
No, he's boring. He's boring. I don't know how a boring guy could do that well. I just probably find some more boring guys.
Do you understand?
Guys
boring and efficient very often hold hands. Boring and efficient are good. You're trying to sell me on the excitement of an offense by selling me the left tackle? If I was trying to sell you a sports car, would my first take be the hubcaps are great? It's the left tackle. He's great. By the way, I am beyond impressed with Ike Aquano. That dude, him and Brown have both given me middle fingers for my preseason assessments of them. And I'm very happy about that. But the Carolina texter says, fan, as a lifelong fan, the Panthers are boring. Please trade McCaffrey. He deserves better. That's how Panthers fans feel right now. Right? That's why Matt Rule, James says, you don't want an exciting left tackle.
Sure you do. You just don't want an excitable left tackle. An excitable has happy feet. An exciting left tackle gives you pancakes.
Zoe's correct on that. You can get hype around an offensive tackle. Hell yeah. But it's just the same thing with Carolina every week. And it's boring. Is Steve Wilkes the answer? We'll find out. We'll find out. I'll tell you the other reason the move came now and why it was a good move when we come back here in a minute. My name is Rob Brown. His name is Lonzo Reitzel. He is the host of the Views from Mint Street podcast, available where podcasts are found. Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, or free on the Odyssey app, or ask your smart speaker to play the Views from Mint Street podcast, and Lonzo will give you a full breakdown of this firing. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate.
Warehouse.
All right, live watchers, stay right there. We'll be right back. All right. What's up, everybody? Appreciate you guys hanging out with us on the stream. Do us a favor, share it around your social if you don't mind. We'd love to keep growing our online community. Josh said, bro, have you watched any of the have you watched the majority of the NFL games? They are, for the most part, all boring. Last night's game was not boring, dude. The Chiefs were down 17 and came back to win. I will say that when you get Miami Dolphins on QB3 What was the first name of that quarterback, Lonzo? You remember?
No.
Okay, me either. Skyler. It was Skyler. Skyler, I don't remember his last name. The offenses are down this year. That is true. Scoring averages are down this year. That's it, James. Skylar Thompson. Good call. I think that's it. I think that was it. But yeah, scoring is down in the NFL this year. I don't necessarily think that is a bad thing. I will take some defensive games, which is very good because, again, Carolina's defense is exceptional. There's no arguing that. When Frankie Louvu's healthy, which, by the way, is he back this week? Do we know? Have we heard?
Don't think so.
Because he was out. Xavier Woods was out. Who else was out? Somebody else was out, too. Oh, Chenault was out. Steve Smith Sr. rips Matt Rule's handling of Cam Newton in 2021. Steve Smith getting in with that timely criticism. Chris Long just said, you can review roughing the passer, sure, but the full body weight rule needs to go. Get in the weight room, quarterbacks.
Jeremy Chin. Yeah, you're right, James.
Well, yeah, IR. He's at what, 3 more weeks minimum?
What if the defense playing as well as they did was because of the defensive coordinator who just got fired?
There are some people who think that is very possible.
This feature sponsored by Indeed. Fall into a hiring spree with Indeed. Their end-to-end hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates. Sponsor a job and instantly receive a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Sponsored by Corley Plumbing, Air and Electric.
He played, James. He got at least one catch, if I recall. Mad World, next break.
10-4. All right, so I gave you my first thought on the upgrade for the Panthers by moving on from Matt Rule. And it is that I am hoping, Zoe brought this up in the Views from Industry podcast yesterday, that Steve Wilkes, the interim head coach, will tell Ben McAdoo, hey, we should probably run the ball with that entire stable of running backs we've built, right? Like that might, it's a thought. It's a thought. Steve Wilkes has been a head coach before. He was head coach for one season in Arizona, 3-13 in his one season in Arizona, which, if you only look at it surface level, is
boring.
You have really taken offense to that. You have really taken offense to me saying the Panthers offense is boring. 3-13 is not a good look at surface level. But he took over an Arizona team that at the time was a dumpster fire contained by a slightly larger dumpster fire. And from what we have learned, the Cardinals as a team loved him. Now, it's kind of an interesting dichotomy, Zoe, because from all accounts, the Panthers players actually liked Matt Rule. After the win over the Saints, we told you the story that the Panthers offense specifically sprinted the game ball over to Matt Rule.
But why do you give the game ball to a coach? Because you know the coach is in trouble.
Yep. Because he's embattled. That is correct. The players were all there for Matt Rule. But here's the thing, man. It doesn't matter what line of work you're in. If productivity is down, you might have the nicest guy in the world managing the team. But if the team's not getting the job done, that all goes out the window. I'm going to take a stab at this. And I'm going to say Lonzo and I have something in common here. Lonzo, I have played a manager role in radio before. My least favorite part of the job, being the disciplinarian / the executioner. When somebody just could not get the job done and I had to let them go. Hated it. It just ate at me as a person to call somebody to the office and go, hey, man, it's just not working out, unfortunately. We've got to move in a different direction. Pack your stuff. Hated it, right? And I have no doubt that there was some part of that with David Tepper when he decided to move on from Matt Rule because the players were all in his corner, especially when in his press conference yesterday, he came out and he said, I did not talk to the players before I made this move, right? I did not ask for their input. This was a move I felt needed to be made, so I made it. Didn't ask for input. I'm sure I don't envy that spot. What I will say is the job just was not getting done. He was 11-27. He was, what was the record? 1-27 in games where the other team scored 17 points or more, right? It's not good enough. It's just not good enough. So you bring in Steve Wilks. And the other benefit of this is Steve Wilks in 3-13 year did not have a great year, but took over a tragically bad football team. And the belief was that Steve Wilks had the team pointed in the right direction. They fired him. Steve Wilks, also as Lonzo pointed out yesterday, and something that I completely forgot, Steve Wilks is connected to the Brian Flores lawsuit, right? His name was brought up specifically in that. Steve Wilks, a lot of people feel, did not get a fair shake at the gig at Arizona. Steve Wilks is a name who over the past year or two, when an NFL head coaching position has come open, Steve Wilks' name has been at the top of those lists as an A-tier candidate. What are the Panthers doing right now? An audition, right? It's an on-the-job tryout. When I got this gig, scratch that, before I got this gig, when I was a candidate, I got asked to come to Greenville, sit in this studio at this spot for 2 days and do the show, to try out, to audition on the job. They now, the Panthers, Lonzo, have what I consider to be a leg up in that they get to literally try on like a brand new suit one of the guys that is considered a top-tier candidate for an NFL head coaching job moving forward. If Steve Wilks comes in, if some of that kinetic energy is released, if this team starts pushing towards the positive, I'm not saying wins 7 games, but wins a couple more games, looks like they're moving in the right direction, the Carolina Panthers will likely have the best ability to sign Steve Wilks to the job if he becomes the right guy for the job. And if he doesn't, no harm, no foul. You cut him loose, and you're in the same pot as the other NFL head coach or the other NFL franchises that will be looking for head coaches during the offseason. So I think it gives them a really beneficial spot that a lot of other bad teams do not have the opportunity to do right now.
They also have put themselves in a position where they can't do something that you have advocated for, and that would be tanking. Because you can't go to Steve Wilks and say, I want you to tank because of the lawsuit.
No, and I think you're going 6 and 1/2 a dozen to the other here, right? If Steve Wilks comes in and he sucks, the job doesn't get done, great. You got yourself a top 1, 2, 3 draft pick in the draft next year. If Steve Wilks does come in, and let's say Lonzo, let's say he wins 6 games the rest of the ride, right? Let's say he wins 5 games the rest of the ride. Do you feel good about that? If he can go get 5, when Matt Rule has not won more than 5 games in a season so far, if Steve Wilks wins 5 games between now and the end of the year, do you feel like you're pointed in the right direction?
If a defensive guy can come in and change the offense and make the offense work, he's got a shot at it.
Yeah.
If a defensive guy comes in and just makes the defense better and the offense still stinks, no.
Correct. I agree. And that is why the comments yesterday, and you brought this up to my attention before we started the show. David Tepper did a long press conference yesterday.
And I watched the whole thing. And in it, he was asked about the firing of Snow. And he said, that's up to the head coach. It's something that you had speculated about before with Matt Rule, that he had the power to, and most coaches have the power to bring in their guys as their assistant coaches. So Tepper said that he had already been informed by Wilks that if he got the job that he was letting Snow go. So he knew that.
So Snow and Matt, for whatever reason, Phil Snow is like attached to the hip with Matt Rule. Remember, we told you the story a couple of weeks ago about apparently at one point Tepper had a meeting with Matt Rule on the schedule, and Matt Rule showed up with Phil Snow in tow. And Tepper was like, why is he here? Right? To the point that there were some conspiracy theorists out there that actually believe Phil Snow was calling the shots. Like Phil was mentoring Matt Rule, right? Matt was like, things are going bad. How can I get better? And Phil was like, all right, I'll show you. Because Phil Snow has said publicly, repeatedly, he does not want to be a head coach. He doesn't want that responsibility. He's happy at the coordinator level, right? David Tepper said, whatever Wilks wants, Wilks gets. And I like that, right? Because he's setting them up for success. If you're going to do an on-the-job audition, you want to give the guy the feeling that it's an actual job, right? If they'd have flown me up here to do the audition for this show, and I showed up and they're like, hey, we're going to have you do the sports flash. Well, then what? That's not an audition. You don't have me doing the job. You brought me up here to do something similar to the job. You brought me up here to do something that's kind of like the job. But you didn't bring me up here to do the job. Steve Wilks is going to get to do the job. And at the end of week 18, there is going to be an on-the-job audition evaluation. And I kind of think the Panthers win either way here. Because if the Panthers win 5 or 6, you go, hey, Steve Wilks did in 80% of a season what Matt Rule was never able to do with a whole season. And if Steve Wilks ain't the guy and you fall and you only end with 2 or 3 wins, hey, you got a top 3 draft pick to try to find your QB next year. It's win-win for Carolina right now. You either have a leg up with a guy who is an A-tier coach, or you're going to get a top 3 draft pick, and you can use that to entice your next head coaching candidate. By the way, real quick before we take a break, I'm going to go ahead and throw the wet blanket on Panthers fans. While I just spent that time building you up, Sean Payton's not coming to Carolina. All right? He's not. And here's why. The Saints have him under contract for 2 more years. If you want Sean Payton, you've got to work out a deal with the New Orleans Saints. Do you think the New Orleans Saints are going to trade Sean Payton to a team that is in their own division? Do you think the New Orleans Saints want to play against Sean Payton twice a year for the foreseeable future? No, they don't. No, they don't.
Tepper has no problem with paying someone the money he needs to pay them. He's paying Rule to go away. If he wants Sean Payton enough, he'll pay whatever the Saints ask.
But keep in mind, this is going to be, hey, we want your next 2 first-round draft picks, right?
They'll make a deal for first-round draft picks down the road. It doesn't have to be next year.
Maybe. But part of that, again, keep in mind, part of that is the Saints have control over who Payton can go to for the next 2 years. The Saints may just not want to put Sean Payton in the same division. And oh, by the way, despite Cooper Rush, Sean wants to be a Cowboy. JJ wants him to be a Cowboy. Everybody's like, oh, the Cowboys are good now. That you think if JJ feels like Sean Payton's the guy to win him a Super Bowl, you think JJ wouldn't cut a successful head coach to bring in Sean Payton?
Yeah, Jim Johnson was doing pretty well at the
Yup.
time he was let go. So
Yup.
that was a long time ago, though. So maybe Jerry has changed.
Jura, gonna Jura. Old Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones. Take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 2. Hour number 3, going to talk a little baseball. And I am going to make a plea. We are hours away from the beginning of hockey season. I am going to see if I can convince you to give hockey some time in your life this hockey season. I'm Rob. He's the great one. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Well.
All right.
Hello, this is one login voice. After the beep, enter the digits you see on the screen, followed by the hash sign. Thank you. Goodbye.
Vicks Vapor Rub sends powerful medicated Vicks vapors right to the source of your, so you can experience cough relief and breathe easier. Generations of families have trusted Vicks Vapor Rub to help relieve the worst cold symptoms. So next time you have a cough, reach for the Vicks Vapor Rub. Vicks Vapor Rub. Cough relieving is believing.
Ray Mayotte here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some Nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. That looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right price.
Jake Plummer has started a mushroom farm and says he believes mushrooms will save the world.
Need to give away Furman tickets.
Okay. You want to do that here? Or you want me to in the next hour?
Going into the break.
Going
Yes.
into the break. Got
Yes.
it. 10-4.
What's your retirement look like? With Fidelity Income Planning, a dedicated advisor can help you create a flexible income strategy to grow and protect your wealth so you can stop worrying about the future and enjoy whatever comes next. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services member NYSE SIPC.
Listen on the Odyssey app. Search the Fan.
Put a bow on hour number 2 on the radio broadcast. I would very much like to do a Travis Kelce appreciation segment. When we talk about guys that are exciting, is there a more exciting guy in the history of the tight end position than Travis Kelce? 4 touchdown receptions last night, Lonzo. 4.
Used to be a Tony Gonzalez guy. Still am. Didn't think there would be a tight end better, but now there is. Yes.
Travis Kelce. I mean, he only had 25 yards, but he's a tight end, my dudes. 4. That's a weapon and a half, man. Like, we talked about having the right equipment to do the job correctly. Travis Kelce is that dude. And the best part, though, they were doing a schematic breakdown on, was it Van Pelt show last night of Kelce's route running? I don't know how many other quarterbacks he would work that well with outside of Mahomes, because they were talking about Travis Kelce's ability to make adjustments to his routes on the fly, which means he's got to have a quarterback that knows what he's thinking before he thinks it, right? And Mahomes and Kelce, like, if they came out tomorrow and said, we have a telekinetic connection, I'd believe them. They're that good together.
It does work both ways. It's Kelce understands what Mahomes is going to do also.
Yeah. I mean, he knows Mahomes' tendencies, right? Like the first touchdown pass was just drawn up exceptionally well. The first touchdown pass was not even that complicated of a play. Kelce was lined up at the right side. He runs a seam. He curls up behind the linebacker. He hits a hard cut to the left. He gets the cornerback in his back pocket. Nobody's covering that. Nobody's covering that. On 2 of them, he faked a block before he took off running, and he's such an exceptional blocker that you have to commit to that as well. Like, Travis Kelce is I don't know, Alonzo, like, he is the future of that position, but he's the present. The second touchdown pass, the one that brought you guys to within a field goal, was a contested route. Like, he ran a little curl route. He had a linebacker coming right at him, and he made one of the best receivers plays I've seen in a long time. Shielded the ball, caught it with his hands out front. Like a lot of tight ends in that spot want to catch the ball up against their body. He caught it hands out, and then he just rotated down and away. Like he does all the little things so freaking well. He's so good at it.
It's all right. I agree. I also have tickets to give away.
Sure do. How about a pair of tickets to Furman taking on the Catamounts this Saturday? Caller number 2. Caller number 2 is winning 2 tickets to this Saturday's Furman game, plus the VIP experience. That includes getting the opportunity to go out on the field.
A chance for the VIP.
A chance. No, that's correct.
Yeah.
You will be entered into a drawing for the VIP experience. That is going to bring you down on the field during warmups. You're going to get your picture made out on the field at Paladin Stadium, and you'll get the chance to watch the game from the President's Box up in the luxury section. Caller number 2 right now, 844-326-3663. 844-326-3663. Caller number 2 wins those tickets and your name entered into the grand prize drawing. We're back after this to break down the Braves Phillies series on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
You are the winner. Please hold.
Steven, that is absolutely a possibility. In fact, I would almost say I agree with you. They're on a different level right now.
Come on. Come on.
As many days. Chiefs defensive end Chris Jones flagged last night for sacking and stripping Raiders QB Derek Carr.
Pass interference a couple years back when we can do the pass interference. I think that's now the next level we're going to have to take as a league.
Now, reviewing PI did not go well. Luckily for KC,
Blink 182 has a new album coming out. All right, Stream, be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right. Was that bad timing?
It's all right. It's all right. I know how to stop.
Oh, Blink's going on tour. Really? Man, I hope they come close. I never saw Blink in their heyday, and I wish I would have.
So now you get to see them while they're old.
Better not seeing them.
Is it though?
For me, yeah. I did just go see Styx and REO Speedwagon, so
Yeah, don't bring that up. For me, that's it's still a sore spot. I went back and listened to that, and it was affirmed that everyone who comments on that are a bunch of liars because it was horrible.
It was not.
My wife was embarrassed because
It would be horrible if you were REO Speedwagon.
No, my wife was embarrassed because she knows I can do better than that, and you know. I embarrassed my former band. I embarrassed my children. Probably my great-grandchildren at some point will find that audio and go, great-grandpa did that? Luckily, I won't be around then, so. But I have been thinking about a possible song if you should lose. So.
Are you going to spring it on me?
I'm not letting you know now.
So, yes.
I will give you enough time since you have to play to do it, and I will make sure I pick. Remember, I thought that was part of it. I guess you don't have to.
I mean, it is if I can.
It'd probably be easier to karaoke. It'd be funnier if you had to play it, but no, because then you'd be showing that you actually have some skills. So I don't want to help you out there. It's harder for Rob if Rob were to lose because
Rob can't sing.
Rob's in an 80s cover or in a cover band period where they do a ton of these songs that you guys will suggest. So it's got to be something off the wall that will be very difficult for him. I don't
know.
I do have a particular hymn in mind. So. And it will.
Is it sung by Georgia Bulldog fans 1,000 times a game?
No. I mean, a legitimate hymn that will require you do hit vocal heights that, I don't know.
Can't.
I don't know. You can sing AC/DC. You can hit vocal heights.
I just got the image of a church band going AC/DC during a service.
There are rock churches.
The final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate.
Shout out to Mike for winning the Furman tickets, and want everyone to know that we'll have more to give away tomorrow.
I think we're giving them away all 5 days this week, right?
As far as I know.
As far as I know. Mike's getting a pair of tickets to this Saturday's game, and those tickets, should Mike win the grand prize drawing between the 10 prize winners split between this show and Offsides with Mark Ryan, should he win the grand prize drawing, we'll then get the opportunity to be upgraded to the VIP experience, which will include an on-the-field experience where you will go down on the field for warm-ups. Last week,
by the way, we're not giving away tickets now. We've already given them away.
Yeah, we've already given them away.
We will give them away tomorrow.
Yes, you will get your opportunity to win again tomorrow. Last week against Samford, week before last against Samford, they actually, we went down onto the field. They introduced us. They walked me and Mark and Ty, our winner, who had a great time. Shout out to Ty. Walked us out down on the field. And then they were like, hey man, you can just hang out and watch the game down here if you want. And we watched the first quarter and a half or so down on the field. When they were going into the red zone in the second quarter, I was like 30 feet away from the ball being snapped. It was fantastic, man. Fantastic. So anyway, we got more tickets that we will be giving away throughout the course of the week. So if you did not win today, make sure that you check back in tomorrow for another chance to win, because one of our winners is going to get that VIP experience courtesy of our friends over at Furman. Drew Ingram and the gang are doing a spectacular job. The Furman folks, I talked to him, I talked to Jason at that game against Sanford, and both of them were like, look, Rob, let me tell you where we're coming from. Like, we want to be the Upstate's football team. Like, we want to be the Upstate's football team. And they pointed out, had some great points. It is affordable, right? If you want to take a family afford to a football game, it can be difficult to go big time football. It's not cheap. And so they were like, we want to make it affordable. We want to make it where it's not like you got to drive way out of the way. The games are very exciting. They have a tailgate area on the field. Like, you go tailgate and throw cornhole and drink a couple of beers, and you're like 10 yards behind the end zone. It is a fantastic experience. So if you did not win tickets today, make sure you're listening tomorrow. You'll get your second chance at that tomorrow as well. I never got Chris to fix my phone system, Lonzo, so I have no idea who's on the phone right now.
Remind me to come back around there later and see what I can do. We have Rick, who says he met you a couple weeks ago or something like that, and apparently it was a good experience. I don't get that.
I was going to say, I don't know where this is going. Yeah. Rick, welcome to the show, big fella.
Thank you, Rob. I met you. I was with Mike Stahakis. We met you at...
Yes. We were talking. Yeah. I told you that Notre Dame was going to be really good, and I was wrong.
And I was wrong on the Clemson. And I was wrong on the Clemson on DJ being...
That's right. That's right. So you were ready to make DJ transfer, if I recall correctly.
I was. And I really love the show. And let me tell you, you're doing a great job on the Burns football. I went to Greer High School, but I'm actually listening to the Burns games because of you right now.
Well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Lonzo taught me everything I know.
Well, Lonzo's good. I've always enjoyed the show. And one thing, I wish they hadn't made the change at the Carolina Panthers, because I've made a lot of money on them this year. And now I don't know what to do, because I made $10,000 on the game last week.
Golly! So drinks on Rick this weekend. We're all meeting Rick down at Warehouse in Midtown.
Drinks are on me, Blaine Alonzo, and you're doing a great job. And I just want to say, hey, Stahakis always gives you problems, but he's a good guy. Go over and eat with him, and he's a good guy.
Stacks is good people. Stacks is good people. Our buddy Thomas that runs the Warehouse at Midtown is good people. Rick, you're good people. I only run in circles of good people.
I hear you. Well, have a good one. We'll see you out there. When's the next time you're going to be out there?
I am not sure. I may be there Saturday night. I'm not 100% sure. I will more than likely be there during the day next Saturday. I will let you know.
Just let me know. Announce it, and I guarantee I'm going to bring out a bunch of people.
Let's go. Love it. Rick, appreciate you, big fella. Thanks. Thank you very much. Very kind words, and they are very much appreciated. Look at that. Somebody met me in public, Lonzo, and they don't regret it. How about that?
And apparently he still has his hearing, so we've got that.
Yes, it was a good time. Stacks was out there. Thomas was there. We had a great time. Let's get into this Braves v Phillies series that starts this afternoon at 1:07 p.m. on a Tuesday in the playoffs. Like what? But why though? Why are we playing this game with the World Series champions on a Tuesday at 1:07 in the afternoon? I mean, I get it. We got into this a little bit earlier in the week. Yesterday. Those are the same thing. The Dodgers play on the left coast. You can't play them really any earlier. 9:07 p.m. their first pitch, which makes it what? 5:07 Pacific time? Is that right? 6:07 Pacific time. So, man, I guess you got to do that, I guess. The Yankees are the biggest national audience probably in all of American sports, right? So I get that they get the primetime slot. Why can't we play 2 games at a time? Like, if you care enough about baseball, you can find 2 screens, right? Why are we not playing 2 games at 6 o'clock and 2 games at 9 o'clock on the East Coast? Why am I watching a 107 divisional league baseball game? I don't get it. Anyway, either way, 107. NL East champion Atlanta Braves chased down the New York Mets to win their 5th consecutive division title. The Phillies, on the other hand, how about the Phillies against the Braves and the Mets this year? 13-25. Now, the bad news for the Phillies is that there were 2 100-win teams in their division, and they were well below 500 against them. The good news for the Phillies is that they were very clearly in wild card contention from the start of the season to the end, right? They were never close to as good as the Mets. They were never as close to as good as the Braves. But they were very much as good as multiple other playoff teams across the National League. So there's absolutely something to be said for them there. This is an interesting series because I think the Braves are the better team in every metric, right? They are better off the bump. They are better out of the pen. They are better with the relievers. While the middle of the lineup with the Phillies, by the way, the Phillies that decimated the Cardinals. The middle of the lineup for the Phillies is stacked. There's no arguing that. It's a very good middle of the lineup. But the Braves from 1 to 9 are better than the Phillies. This season, 11-8 the record. We talked about the record against the Braves and the Mets, which was not great for the Phillies, but a massive ton of those wins, 8 of them, as a matter of fact, did come against Atlanta. Now, those teams met 19 times during the regular season. The Braves won 3 more games, but the Phillies were very close to Atlanta pretty much every time they played. The Braves were the better team, but Philly did get a couple of 3 and 5 win runs that would have won them a series if they were playing 7-game series. What's going to be interesting is pitching matchups. Ranger Suarez off the hill for Philly. Max Fried's going for the Braves. The Phillies rotation is Wheeler and Nola. That's the strong part of where the Phillies are. But, and this is why, leading up to the MLB playoffs, I talked about how massive it was for the Atlanta Braves to be able to run down the Mets and take the East, right? The reason why is exactly what we're seeing. Wheeler and Nola both just pitched in the Phillies wild card round against St. Louis. Neither of them allowed an earned run over a combined 13 innings of work, but neither of them is available for game number 1. So you got the Phillies throwing number 3 against the Braves number 1. Then you got the Phillies throwing number 1 against the Braves number 2, and the Phillies throwing number 2 against Braves number 3. 2 of those 3 games, the clear advantage off the hill is to Atlanta, right? Max Fried v. Suarez in game 1, advantage Atlanta. Game number 2, we don't have the announced starting pitcher battle yet. But you are likely going to see the Braves number 2 going up against Phillies number 3, which would mean or against Phillies number 1, which means you're likely getting Zach Wheeler versus Kyle Wright. Kyle Wright is a 20-win pitcher. Now, his numbers aren't crazy exceptional. He's a 3.19 ERA. To put that into comparison, Max Fried is a 2.48. And Zach Wheeler is a 2.82. But Kyle Wright's a 21-win guy. That's fantastic. So Suarez versus Fried, advantage Atlanta. Wheeler versus Wright, you're probably going level there. Maybe a slight advantage to Kyle Wright. Slight. And then in game 3, we'll see which direction the Braves go, but you're probably getting Aaron Nola for Philly. That'll be a Philly advantage. That being said, the Braves better win tonight, right? You can't take your 1 against their 3 and lose. If the Braves lose this game, this could be really, really interesting. Because what you don't want to do is turn it into a 3-game set in 3, 4, and 5 and give Philly the home field advantage with 2 of those last 3 being in Philly. So I'd be real careful there. Real careful there. As far as the lineup, the Braves and the Phillies from 1 to 9 hit a team average of 253, both of them identical batting average, and had a .317 on base percentage, identical to both of them. The only difference at the dish was in the slugging percentage. The Braves hold a 21-point advantage over Philly. Atlanta has the bigger long ball threat right now. 243 dingers this year. Led the National League. The Phillies, however, had 205. It's not like it is a massive difference. That's a pretty big difference, but it's not like it's like an incalculable difference. The Braves had 7 hitters with at least 15 home runs this season. 4 of those had 20. Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Dansby Swanson, William Contreras, Michael Harris II have all proven they can go yard at any point. Ronald Acuna Jr. only had 15 dingers this year, but the bat has gotten hot for him, and Ronnie has had 40 home run seasons in the past. The Braves lineup is deeper, but with Schwarber, with Harper, with Realmuto, the middle of the Phillies lineup is as good as the Braves will see, with the exception of the LA Dodgers right now. That's the only exception. The Braves are the favorite in this series. The Braves are in this series. They are a -205 money line favorite, which means you bet 205 to win 100 if they win it. The Phillies are +170. The over-under in game number 1 today is set at 7.5. That is not exceptionally high for 2 teams that have got some sluggers on them, right? Not a high number for 2 teams that have sluggers. The Braves have to take advantage of that. You are throwing your ace. You got their number 3. Keep the Phillies in the yard. Pitch around the middle 3 of Schwarber, Harbor, and Realmuto if you need to. Pitch around those guys, and you should be okay. Should be okay. The Phillies swept the Cards. They swept St. Louis. It was impressive. At St. Louis, by the way. It was impressive. The Cards have been a middle-of-the-pack team start to finish. Do not let the Phillies get into your head. Go out there, win tonight. Win tonight. Everything else will fall in line if you're Atlanta. Win tonight. Do not waste Max Fried against Suarez, the most favorable pitching matchup that you will get in this entire freaking series is this one. Do not waste it. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Want your thoughts, Braves fans? How you feeling going into game number 1? We'll break it down further when we come back. My name is Rob Brown. The great Lonzo's at the helm. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Tuesday, by the way. I mean, I can take it out.
Nah, leave it. Let's have some fun. Do I have anything else I need to get to? Really?
My friends all credited South Carolina Gamecocks on Saturday night.
So how's everybody on the stream? Y'all doing good? Yeah, having a day? I like it. Numbers are good, man. It's great to see everybody. I don't know what I don't know where we put the stream that it's caught on, but I'm glad it did, man. Glad to have you guys. Leave your comments in the chat, man. They show up on my chat screen here. We can put them up on the screen, whatever y'all want to talk about. It is up to you on the stream, amigos. The bounce has not been friendly to you this week.
Distracted by mid. All right, so
Sometimes the layup is your friend.
Interest rates are rising. They are still well below the historic average of 7%, and home buying remains a strong financial decision. So, reach out to my friends at Allen Tate, because Allen Tate is helping both sides of the market, both buyers and sellers, because both sides have real estate goals. And Allen Tate, the #1 real estate company in North and South Carolina, is helping buyers and sellers just like you. So if you're in the market on either side, you need to reach out to my friends at Allen Tate. Find them online at allentate.com. That's allentate.com.
It really takes it.
By the way, Borderlands has just announced that their grand opening will be November 12th.
November 12th. And the new shop is
410 South Pleasantburg Drive.
That's even closer to my house.
I'm still trying to figure out how I will get there on a Tuesday. My best. I try to avoid 385.
Correct decision.
Well, just because there are a couple of single lane bridges that make me nervous.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the new store. I've had opportunities.
It's like significantly bigger, isn't it?
It's I think 3 to 4 times bigger. He has said the square footage. I just don't remember. Would also like to worm our way there to when it's closed to doing radio D&D there. That would be really cool. It'd have to be closed while we're doing it, though, if we're doing it after the show.
I wouldn't hate, and obviously this is up to you guys, but doing a session one day while they are open and let people come in and watch us play. I think it'd be good for them too to like let people watch.
Yeah, we can do that.
Watch us play around.
Because they have live games going on
Yeah.
while they're open
Yeah.
right now. So I think we have specific days for some games, but
It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. Time for Lonzo's favorite segment of the week. It is time for Faces and Heels, where we take a look at some socially ambiguous situations and try to figure out who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. It's time for Faces and Heels. By the way, apparently Bray's going to SmackDown. Is that what I heard yesterday? I figured they were going to do something with him yesterday, and he did not. Also, Degeneration X is still hilarious.
I must have missed the part where they said he was going to be on SmackDown. Problem is the new guy who's been there for a while as the play-by-play guy, not very good.
Oh, the Irish guy?
Not very good. Here's what he is. He's quiet.
He is quiet.
We didn't get any play-by-play.
Yeah.
I mean, hardly any play-by-play.
Yeah.
So it's mostly just Graves. And if it's going to be mostly just Graves, just make it Graves.
Yeah.
Make it Graves and Byron. I'd be okay with that.
If only there was a segment somewhere every week we could only talk about wrestling.
Wouldn't that be kind of cool?
Maybe like Thursdays, theoretically around like 11, 12, like around this time on Thursdays.
11-ish, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. All right, kids, here's a couple of them. Here's one. This one is interesting. 23-year-old man has an ex-girlfriend, also 23 years old. Said they'd known each other since they were 14. They dated for about a year. They lived together in a one-bedroom apartment, and then they broke up. So the girlfriend found somewhere else to live. Said that while they were living together, she got a dog, a Welsh Corgi that she named Elvis. Now, she had the dog. She got the dog as they were moving in together. Lived together for about a year before they broke up and she had to move out. Well, when she moved out, she went to stay with her parents temporarily whilst she looked for somewhere more permanent to live. Because obviously they lived in a one-bedroom apartment. She didn't feel comfortable staying there. Makes sense. Well, when she moved out, this was in July, late July. So we'll call it early. We'll call it start of August. When she moved out and she moved back in with her parents while she was waiting to find an apartment, the parents said, you can come, but the dog can't. She asked the boyfriend, can the dog stay here until I find an apartment that I can bring the dog to? The boyfriend said, sure, I'll keep the dog till you find a place. This was August 1st-ish, like around the very end of July, early August. He says, all through August, the dog was with me. All through September, the dog was with me 2 months. He didn't want the dog, right? He said around a week and a half, 2 weeks deep in September, she went radio dark. Didn't text me back, wasn't answering my phone calls, wasn't responding to emails. She had taken me off all her social media after we broke up, et cetera, et cetera. So for about 2 weeks, she didn't hear anything. He didn't hear anything from the ex-girlfriend. So he found a friend who was looking for a dog, gave the friend the dog, rehomed the dog, gave the dog to a friend who was looking for a dog. The friend fell in love with the dog, and the friend's kid fell in love with the dog. The girlfriend, after 2 weeks of Radio Dark, finally gets back in touch and says, I found a place and I'm seeing somebody. And that's why I wasn't returning your calls, right? I wanted to establish myself in my new apartment, and I've got a new boyfriend, and I didn't want to be on the phone with you back and forth while I was trying to, get settled into the new place and establish this relationship with the new boyfriend. But I'm good now. I want to come get the dog. Boyfriend's like, nope, sorry, I rehomed the dog. I didn't hear from you for a couple of weeks. I rehomed the dog. The dog is with my friend. She's like, okay, well, go get the dog. He said, no. I gave the dog to the friend. The friend's kid loves the dog. I'm not splitting them up. She said, give me the friend's number. I'll call him and get my dog. He said, nope, you're not getting the dog. The dog's now with the friend. The dog's now with the friend's kid. They love the dog. They are taking care of the dog like it's a king. Who's the bad guy here? Is it the lady for abandoning the dog? Well, the lady for asking the boyfriend to watch the dog, going Radio Dark for 2 weeks while she moved into an apartment and started a new relationship? Or is it the guy for rehoming the dog?
It's her, because she went dark. I mean, what's he supposed to do? It's not his dog. It's also a reminder of her, and they're no longer together. And the fact that he found the dog a good and loving home, whereas he could have just taken the dog to a shelter, and he did not do that. And a lot of times when relationships end, there's potential to be vindictive about it. And instead, he went and found the dog a good home. So it's definitely her. I get kind of why she didn't have anything to do with him, but she could have, sent him a message, hey, I'm still coming back for my dog. She didn't do that. So it's on her.
Yeah, I mean, I get that transition period of you just came out of a multi-year relationship, or I guess a year plus relationship. You got to find a new place to live.
She moves fast, doesn't she?
I mean, it'd been 2 months since she moved on to another dude.
It might make you think that there might have been, something going on already.
Maybe.
But
I will also tell you that I am not a cheater. I have moved out of a relationship and into another one within a couple of months. It happens. It happens. Sometimes it's for good reasons. Sometimes it's for very bad reasons. The 2 weeks of I blocked you or I'm not responding to your calls or whatever. I mean, the dude watched your dog. He basically dog sat for you for a month and a half.
also had to pay for the food and all that kind of stuff. And,
yeah,
that's not cheap.
That includes coming home from lunch to walk the dog, taking time out of your afternoon schedule to walk the dog,
cleaning up after
the dog. Exactly right. Exactly right. She's a mega heel, an absolute mega heel on this one, no doubt. I thought that I think there will be some people that will sympathize with the girlfriend, right? Like some people who would say, hey, you agreed to watch the dog, right? But it's like, it's 2 months and you went dark for 2 weeks of it. That's not bad. Couple weeks ago, this one is a lady who had her 21st birthday party. She said it was a big deal to me, right? Didn't have a lot of birthday parties of magnitude growing up. I turned 21. My parents and my extended family all come over. We went out to a nice restaurant that my parents booked reservations for. A lot of my family, cousins, nieces, nephews were there. It was a lot of people. She said she was very, very excited to be able to legally order her first drink, have a drink with her family, et cetera, et cetera. Well, said that the older sister and her boyfriend showed up. They were all given her presents, and the older sister and boyfriend gave her their birthday present to her. She said it came in a little box. I unwrapped the box. I opened the box, and I read in the box there was a card, and the card said, "Will you be my maid of honor?" The birthday present from the sister and the fiance was to ask her if she will be the maid of honor. After she read it out loud, they made the announcement, hey, we're engaged. We're getting married. And they made this announcement at my 21st birthday party. She said that for the rest of the night, the rest of the attention was all on them. People asking them questions, asking them if they had picked a date, asking them if they were starting to think about having kids. She said my 21st birthday party was supposed to be about me. and it turned into being about their wedding, I left the party. I just went home. I left everybody at the restaurant and left.
It's my party, and I'll cry if I want to.
And I'll freaking leave if I want to.
She still got gifts, right?
Still got gifts. Everybody still showed up. They all had the nice dinner together. This was at the end of dinner, like after dessert, it was present
did she
time.
get to make a big deal about ordering her drink and all that? Did she actually get to order her drink?
I don't know. She doesn't specifically say, but I'm going to assume so.
Or did she just drop by the corner store, grab her a 40 and go home?
You can't. Can you get 40s in South Carolina? You can't get 40s in Florida.
I don't know. I'm from Ohio. You could get them there. Not that I drank them or anything, but I saw a lot of paper bags with empty bottles in them.
Shockingly, you can't get 40s in Florida. It is not one of Florida man's superpowers to be able to get a 40. When you were in Tallahassee, if you're partying in Tallahassee or in Jacksonville and you want a 40, you got to drive up into Georgia to get one.
All right, so it's messed up what the older sister did for sure. She took the attention away from, and it's a big deal to her, but she needs to realize that it was a big deal for her sister. So the older sister is the heel. I don't think the sister who went home. I get it. So the older sister is the heel.
I am absolutely going to say that birthday girl's the heel. Birthday girl's the heel. You know, I would say older sister's the heel, Lonzo, if she made that announcement like at the beginning of dinner, right? Like if everybody sat down and she's like, hey guys, before we get started, wanted to know you that me and Beef, we're getting married.
Two totally different people there.
Yeah, I know. Me and Beef are getting married, and we just wanted to let everybody know, all right, let's enjoy this. That's one thing, dude. But like, you had your drink, you had your party, everybody had given you the presents, like everything that entails a birthday party had happened. What else did you want to happen, right? Like your party is at its conclusion. They waited till the conclusion. And how many opportunities is that sister going to get where her entire family is gathered together? She waited till after your dinner, after your drink, after the cake, after the presents, like all the birthday party stuff was concluded. And maybe this is just me. Like, I don't throw myself birthday parties, right? I don't throw myself birthday parties. But
what's a party?
It's a party. You know, it's a party. You go somewhere, you do some stuff, you have some drinks, you have some fun, you go home and you go to bed at 9.
How many folks does a party make?
I'd say you got to have at least 9 to make it a party.
Really?
Yeah, I'd say 9 makes a party. 8, 3 is a get together. 4 to 9 is a shindig. 9 plus is a party.
Okay.
9,
all right.
4 to 9 is a gathering.
Okay.
You go get together, gathering, party.
So I've been to gatherings. I've only been to company parties.
Yeah. We have company parties because there's a bunch of us. I am absolutely going younger sister is the heel, right? I don't throw myself parties, but when parties are thrown around me, right? It doesn't happen very often, but when parties are thrown around me, I want it to be a party. Like everybody should feel like they are a part of something. It should not be like, let's tell Rob how great he is for an hour. I want everybody to leave and be like, dude, that was so much fun. Not, dude, how much more attention does he need?
Hi, I'm Rob Brown. I don't throw a party. I am
the party. I bring the party. Dude, older sister is not the heel. Younger sister's the heel. 21-year-old sister's the heel. You got your time to shine. You got your moment in the sun. How much more attention do you need? Right?
Well, I'm glad we disagree because we just, we don't do that enough.
Yeah, we've agreed on a lot of other ones so far lately. I'm glad we split up on one. All right, let's see. Let's do here's one real good one. Guy says that he and his wife got a divorce. They have one daughter. Okay, one daughter. Says that wife does not make a lot of money. She has a new boyfriend / fiance. So now that she's entered into another long-term relationship, the amount of child support that he has been forced to pay has decreased significantly. He says it's still a pretty good amount, but it's not what it used to be. He said, when I have my daughter, they have a, she has him 2 weeks, he has him 1 arrangement, right? 2 weeks with mom, 1 week with dad. He says, because I only have her 1 week out of every month, when I have her, we do stuff. right? I take her to Disney. I'll take her out on a boat. Like, we do stuff. He says the ex-wife / baby mama said to him, he has to stop doing that. Has to stop treating his daughter to trips to Disney and vacations and boat rides and beach trips and all that, because she can't do that. She doesn't have the resources to treat the daughter to all of these fun things that dad does. And says that daughter is getting old enough now where she's starting to say, I don't want to be with mom. I want to go with dad. We do all the fun stuff with dad. I want to hang with dad. Mom's like, Dad, you can't do that stuff anymore because you're starting to create a situation where she only wants to be with you because you are buying her stuff. Dad goes, look, I got my daughter 1 week a month. She is my baby daughter. I am going to do whatever the hell I want to give her the best childhood I can. I've worked for that money. I'll spend it how I damn well please.
Well,
what you got?
I was just thinking of growing up with, step fathers.
Yep.
And if my real dad, who I met only once, would have done that, I've been okay with it. Take me out, buy me stuff. Yeah, I'm good with that. That never happened. So a little bit jealous, even this old, a little bit jealous. I can see both sides, but since we have to pick a heel, I'm gonna go with the mom. The dad has the resources. As long as he's not doing it for that reason, to buy the child. If he's doing it for the reasons that he says he's doing it, to treat her the way that he thinks she needs to be treated, then I'm good with it. And if he's trying to buy the child, it might actually be working.
This one is a super tough one for me. There is a phrase. You ever heard the phrase Disney dad? There's a phrase Disney dad, which is, it's very specifically, obviously, down in Florida. It's very popular.
I was going to say, that sounds like a 1%er type thing.
Disney dads.
For us, it would be like a Chuck E. Cheese dad.
Disney dads are dads who are like in a split family, who basically show up, take the kid to Disney, then drop him back off with mom to do the parenting. My question would be, before I made this decision, my question would be this. Are you parenting the child while you're doing this, right? Like, are you parenting? If you're taking the kid to Disney, but while you're at Disney, you're like teaching them manners and how to wait in line and how to be polite and respectful to other people. If you are buying them, you're going to buy her a car when she's 16, but are you teaching her the responsibility of car ownership? Are you teaching her the responsibility of work and paying bills and all that? If you are, if dad is actually parenting in his week, as opposed to just having a friend that also happens to be his kid, right? If Pops is parenting here, then it is what it is, right? It sucks. Yes, life's not fair. Life's not fair. I also don't have a ton of money that I can do that. I get it.
Yeah, the opposite is being mistreated by that parent when you get them.
Right.
He's not doing that.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is, we're getting this story from his perspective. So, of course, in his eyes, he's just the glowing, radiant, shining beacon of a parent. Are you parenting? If the dad is parenting the kid well, then I have no problem with it, because it's like, all right, you did work hard to get that money. And if you want to spend it on your daughter, that's your life. But if you are picking up the daughter, giving her a week of just doing whatever the hell she wants and not parenting her, then absolutely you're the heel. Absolutely you're the heel. And that's all it comes down to. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We will wrap up this edition of the Rob Brown Show. Want your answers to faces and heels? Text them in to 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN. We'll read them on the air. We are back after this to wrap it all up with the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
We had some foreign language on there.
That.
I think I'm guessing German, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Part of me wants to stick it into Google Translate. Part of me doesn't.
Yeah, I get it. It might not be till Friday, Luke. Once it's out, it's an upstairs downstairs thing, but they say that they will notify the winners of how to get the tickets. So I'm just a middleman. I'm sure they'll get a hold of you though.
From the Ingles Market Studio, the
I think it's probably going to be a will call deal, but I'm not positive. They just say that they will notify you. You can only go by what is set on my screen. Rob might be able to answer the question better because last time he was actually there. So. How would you translate that? Copy and paste it into something else?
Copy and paste it into Google Translate, yeah.
Now I'm curious. If it's, like advertising for services or if it's
something way worse.
Something like notifying, terrorists where to meet or something like that. We probably should know about that and maybe block that person. All right, you want to go to Twitter early, or you just want to come back and do something?
No, we'll do Twitter.
Let's say I got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, let's do Twitter.
Mark. So the extra that we've been getting online disappeared at exactly the same time.
Same time?
Yeah.
I really would love to know what's causing that.
I'm going with timed bots, but
like, why would they have found our stream so randomly?
Maybe there's someone on the show that's anti-bots. Maybe.
They're just brigading Lonzo.
Yeah, well.
We'll show this guy.
My disdain for such is well known throughout the upstate.
Throughout the internet.
On yes, and the internet.
Ultron's onto you, buddy.
On various stations and things.
Ultron is onto you.
Sticking Ultron. I know you're not a bot, Steven. Thank you, Josh. Josh is also not a bot. All right, it's time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what's trending. He will tell us why. And I want to thank everybody on the stream for identifying that they're not bots. I appreciate that. because
Lonzo is a human version of a live CAPTCHA on the internet. He will test you.
if you were a bot, though, wouldn't you say you weren't a bot?
That's exactly what a bot would say.
Yeah. All right. So the first thing that's trending is Tom Brady.
Mainly because a huge chunk of this roughing the passer discussion started popping up after the hit that definitely was not a roughing the passer call on Tom Brady that happened in the game against the Falcons. And now people are like, yo, wait, hold up a minute. Can we talk about this?
All right.
Can we talk about this?
All right. So Tom Brady does a podcast with Jim Gray. Never listened to it. Probably never will. But he just said on his podcast, I don't throw flags. I throw tablets. And I got to respect that because it's very truthful. And
Tom Brady is going full meta.
Yeah. I mean,
he gets it. He understands his legacy and he play. Here's the
thing.
mean,
if it was filmed at that point, I don't throw flags. And he looks at the screen. I throw tablets. And then winks.
There is a part of me, right? Like there is a part of me that kind of gets it. And I appreciate Tom Brady for going meta. And I appreciate Tom Brady kind of owning who he is right now. Can you be mad at Tom Brady
for existing? Yes.
For using the benefits that he gets from the league, right? Like, I think we've all worked with people that we have seen, that we have recognized get preferential treatment from the bosses for whatever reason, whether it's their performance, whether it's they bring in the most money, whether it is that they're the boss's kid, right? They get preferential treatment. And the question is, if Brady is going to get free 15-yarders for getting hit in a football game, and then he capitalizes on those to win games, are we mad at Brady or are we mad at the league for allowing it to happen?
Oh, at the league. I mean, if you're in that situation, what's he going to do? No, ref.
No. That was clean hit.
No, dude,
clean
come on, pick that flag up.
It's fourth down.
Yeah, I mean, that's on me. I could,
Hey, punt team, come on out. I'm gonna argue this flag. Come on out, punt team.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let that happen. That's just not right. No, he can't. Well, even if he wanted to, it wouldn't matter. He couldn't do that. Even though he has the power to cause flags, he doesn't have the power to cause them to go back in pockets.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if I know that I can walk into my boss's office and be like, boss, I'm really unhappy. And he goes, okay, 5% raise. I'm going to do that all the time. All the time.
Can you do that like twice in one day? Get that 10% on a Friday?
Only when it's 3rd and 9, apparently.
All right, so the next thing that's trending is Davante Adams.
So Davante is in a little bit of hot water because after the loss for the Raiders last night, Davante walking towards the tunnel had a cameraman walk in front of him, and he shoved the cameraman to the ground. And like
a slight cameraman. It was a skinny dude.
Yeah, he was a little dude. Like he was not. If Davante was an offensive lineman, that guy would be dead today. All right. It was not.
Or he'd still be rolling at least. I mean, yeah.
Maybe. And let's be real. It was a good push. I mean, Davante connect, and then he just stared at him and then walked around him. So Davante is going to be in a world of hurt today because listen, I get it. You're ticked. You're 1-4. Your team was supposed to be a playoff team. Instead, you are in a fight for the top overall draft pick upcoming. I get you're frustrated. You can't do that, Davante. You can't do that. You think Davante's looking at his trade this offseason like, what the hell was I thinking?
Well, when I see a push like that, I think Jordan Poole, and I'm waiting for a Superman punch to come back.
Draymond has stepped away from Golden State for a few days to figure it out. Jordan Poole, on the other hand, is in the Golden State front office like, yeah, I think about, like half of Draymond's salary ought to make us good. Like half of Draymond's paychecks, and I'll call it even.
He kind of threw the first shove. So, I mean,
go nose to nose with a dude, you better expect to get pushed. Right? If I walked up into Lonzo's face and went nose to nose with him, I would expect Lonzo to helmet sticker me.
Nah, I will kiss you on the cheek, and you'll be so shocked. Then I'll helmet sticker you.
That is correct. I would be. That is correct.
All right. The next thing trending, and I don't know why this is trending for some reason. Maurice is trending. I don't know why.
Yes, you do.
I don't know
Yes,
why
you do.
Maurice is trending.
Not
By
to
the
be,
way, be careful looking up why Maurice is trending.
not to be crude, but there's 2 reasons Maurice is trending after last night's edition of Monday Night Raw. All right, there just is. Maurice is a very attractive young lady.
Mrs. Tiny.
Birthday presents.
Yeah.
Yes. There are 2 reasons Maurice is trending right now. Maurice was on Monday Night Raw last night, and so obviously when Maurice shows
It's got to
up,
be
she
glue,
trends.
right? Glue is the only way you can. I don't understand people
simply,
who wear a dress and decide that they have to. If you have to use glue to make, keep the dress together, maybe not a good idea. But
or she's trending and probably made $1 billion last night, so maybe it was a great idea. I mean, I don't have Maurice's salary. I wouldn't hate it.
All right, the last thing that's trending is Billy Gunn, who's doing office work somewhere or something.
Corey Graves with the line of the night. The other guy is off doing something with office supplies. I really had hoped he was going to surprise show up. Like, I knew he wasn't, but I really hoped he was. That being said, that opening segment with DX last night, I was like a middle schooler all over again. I went to WWE shop because I very much planned on buying another DX Suck It shirt to see if I could get suspended
That's
from
2
work.
in one day. I just thought you wanted to go buy a chicken. That's what I thought you were going to say. You wanted one of those chickens.
Triple H knew what he was doing when he ended that segment holding that chicken, and it's so good. DX is the best. All right, that's it for us, kids. Jim Rome's got you up next offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel take you at 3 offsides. We're back here tomorrow to do it all over again on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Later, brother.
I couldn't find the same. I couldn't find the same bed to put it in there. It's like just forget it.
What wrestler used to do that, Lonzo? Used to stand face to face and kiss him. Oh, I'm sure there's been a lot of them because it's hilarious.
I don't remember. And that's what I was thinking when I saw the comment. It's like, man, I should know who that is.
All right, y'all.